Today, we're breaking down the recent insights shared by billionaire investor Ron Barron regarding Tesla. Let's dive into the key highlights and unpack the fascinating details.
Let's talk about Tesla as we always do, but then I want to sort of broaden it out and talk about the markets and some of the other companies that you're invested in. There was an analyst call just yesterday, this is HSBC, which really initiated coverage. They said that their price target was $146. I assume you probably looked at this and probably laughed given your very bullish views on Tesla. But what was so interesting about the report was that they really were trying to define the company as an EV automobile maker.
Tesla as a technology company. Ron Barron emphasizes that Tesla is more than just an electric vehicle maker, it's a technology company. He highlights Tesla's role in providing services not only for its own auto manufacturing, but also for others. The focus here is on leveraging data technology and cost efficiency, setting Tesla apart in the industry.
I think about it as a technology company that's providing services to their own company and to others. They can't possibly be matched by anyone else. They have data, technology, they make cars cheaper than anyone else. When Ford makes one of these cars, an electric car, every car they make, they lose $36,000 on.
Profitability and cost efficiency. Tesla's unique approach to driving down prices, maintaining cost efficiency, and minimizing capital investment results in significant profitability. Barron compares this to traditional industrial companies, emphasizing Tesla's financial advantage.
They have data, technology, they make cars cheaper than anyone else. When Ford makes one of these cars, an electric car, every car they make, they lose $36,000 on. $36,000 per car. Our company now makes about $8,000 or $9,000 in profit a car. They were making $15,000 in profit a car. But if they build a plant that costs $7 billion for 1 million cars, that plant was making $15 million a year, $15 billion a year on a $7 billion investment. $15 billion on a $7 billion investment. An ordinary industrial company would make 15% on capital, 20% the most. This guy's making his capital twice a year. Now he's making it once a year. He's making $8 billion in a $7 billion plant. So he's the lowest cost person. Everything about the business is trying to drive prices lower. In the 1900s, early 1900s, the automobile companies were tremendous innovators. No longer is the case. In the 1950s, they decided they were going to go for profitability, and they outsourced all of their supply chain to their detriment. And all these companies went bankrupt. Hundreds of them went bankrupt. And now the way we're going is that their electric cars, they drive, I guess they have about 30 miles a day, 30 or 40 miles a day, and they have 3 million of them that are collecting data. 100 million miles a day they're getting for data, and then they're also getting compute that they're going to have more compute than anyone in the world in 18 months.
Computing dominance. Tesla's ambitious goal is to have more computing power than any other entity globally within 18 months. This move is strategic for enhancing AI training, especially for autonomous driving.
That they're going to have more compute than anyone in the world in 18 months to train it.
Have you been surprised, and this is true of the other EV makers, a lot of EV makers have put up big goals in terms of sales, and then they've scaled those goals back, saying there's just not the customer demand. Do you think that is the responsibility or a function of the products that these other automakers are putting out? Or do you think that there actually isn't the demand for EVs writ large that maybe was anticipated or expected?
Electric vehicle market potential. Barron sees enormous potential in the electric vehicle market, with 1.5 billion cars needing replacement. However, he notes a current lack of demand due to unattractive offerings and resistance from dealers.
There's 1.5 billion cars that have to get replaced. They do about 80 million cars a year, and a small percentage of those, 10%, are electric right now. Ultimately, it's going to be all electric. But the reason there's not more demand is the cars that are out there are not very attractive by the dealers, by the car companies, and they're expensive, number two. And then in addition to that, the dealers who sell them, they don't want to sell them because there's nothing to service. The dealers make all their money on servicing. So dealers sell them, they're not selling them.
You talked about trying to bring prices down, and that's something that Elon Musk has talked a lot about. At the same time that he's going to try to bring prices down, you have the potential for Tesla to become a target of the UAW, which of course just made this new deal with the other big automakers at meaningfully higher prices in terms of what those employees are going to be getting. What do you think about that?
Unionization and stock options. Tesla's employees are considered the highest paid workers globally due to stock ownership. Barron raises concerns that unionization could jeopardize these unique benefits enjoyed by Tesla employees.
I think Tesla's employees are the highest paid workers in the world as far as the automobile companies go, because they own stock.
As a function of the stock.
And that stock option would not be present in all instances if it were a unionized company. When the unions were in control of Fremont, as soon as they had trouble, they ran from it. Tesla took over that plant in Fremont after the unions had left, after the company had gone bankrupt. Tesla employees, there's a good story that one of the executives of, and then I want to talk about other.
Yeah, no, of course.
One of the executives who devised the pay plan for the employees was telling me that he's a small Jewish guy like me, and he was walking through a plant, and a large black man walks over to him, shaved head, tattoos all over the place, and says, Ira, are you the man who devised the pay plan for us? And he said, yes. He said, I want you to know that I'm the first man in my family, the first person in my family to ever be able to afford a home. And thank you very much. And so the workers there make more than anyone else by far, and their health care, all the benefits are better. The unions have been trying to organize Tesla, Toyota, all the foreign companies for years. They failed repeatedly. Why? Because those companies are not, the union's not in business to keep the employees. They're unions to have the power.
Before we move off Tesla, just for
by the way, the stock went down yesterday, not because of that report.
Okay, what do you think it is?
Because of Joe Biden, President Biden.
Stock movement and Biden's influence. The recent dip in Tesla's stock is attributed to President Biden's statement supporting unionization at Tesla, not the HSBC report. Barron shares his thoughts on Biden's impact on the stock movement.
Joe Biden, President Biden, who, by the way, I love what he's doing for Israel, but I don't like that much what he's doing in business. Some things I like. But he's the one who said unions should organize Tesla. That's what happened yesterday when the stock went down.
Okay, we'll come back to the Biden piece in just a second. Melissa Lee, I think, has a quick Tesla question because I know I want to talk to you about a whole bunch of other things. Melissa?
Yeah, Ron, thanks for taking my question. When you think about China, how do you think about the growth there? Because that's a key piece to the Tesla story. Li Auto reported its earnings yesterday and had strong EV guidance. It's gaining market share. I'm just wondering how you think about the competition, but also the weakening Chinese consumer. And have you discounted that portion of the Tesla story at all, given the Chinese economic forecasts out there?
Global expansion and China growth. Barron expresses optimism about Tesla's growth in China, highlighting significant plans to open plants globally for low-cost cars. The relationship with China is emphasized, with Barron underlining mutual benefits.
Tesla right now is doing about 1.8 million cars a year. When we started investing in the company 7 years ago, when we invested between 2014 and 2016, they were doing 41,000 cars a year. So 41,000 cars a year to 1.8 million, they're on their way to 20 million cars. China is about 1 million right now of their 2.8 million. But a large percentage of what they make in China is exported from China to Europe. And the more they build in Europe, of course, the more they're going to save on transportation costs and duties. The idea is that China invited Musk in, and invited him in because the Chinese car companies have done very poorly for a long time. And the promise was that he's going to help them become better car manufacturers, and he's not trying to take over the market in China, better car manufacturers and develop a local supply chain. And so he was the only one that's ever been invited into China that's been able to not have a partner, a local partner, to operate their business. So I'm convinced that they have good operations in China. The person who runs their Chinese business, the Tesla business in Austin, in fact, is probably in line to be important person at Tesla overall. He's Chinese, and he was brought from China to Texas and runs the business there. He's going to be in charge of all the automobile business. So I think the relations they have with China are exceptionally good. Both people are getting something from it. And I think that business will continue to grow. But he's going to open plants all around the world for low-cost cars. And wait till you see what's going to happen.
Future price reduction. Barron anticipates a significant market shift when Tesla starts selling cars for $25,000, expected within the next year or so with the introduction of a new model.
Wait till you see what's going to happen when all of a sudden they start selling cars instead of for $40,000 a piece, for $25,000 a piece, which is going to happen in about a year and a half from their new model. The new model, they think, is going to do 5 million cars a year. 5 million cars a year for the Model 2. That's coming.
That's a lot to take in, and Ron Barron's insights provide a unique perspective on Tesla's trajectory. What are your thoughts on Tesla's future? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth analyses. Until next time, stay tuned for more market insights.